Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday, March 15th. Today, we're going to be talking about RelativityOne's Façade redactions. And so the topics that we're going to be covering today are what is Façade redactions, markup visibility, production native viewer, Façade redactions and productions, and then common questions that folks have. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is a Façade redaction? So it's a change in the Redact application that allows marking up and producing natives, similar to how images are produced. It saves about 50% of reviewers and administrative time by reducing clicks. It eliminates the need to run a redaction project for natives. Markup natives are no longer in a lock state for production. It's very similar, and we'll see in just a moment on how images work. You'll be able to toggle the markup transparency, and you'll no longer need to reconvert every time a native spreadsheet is marked up. So what does the markup visibility look like? First is opaque. And so second, you'll see the redactions there are transparent, so you can see kind of the gray that's hovering over some of those boxes. And then lastly, the markup visibility is off. And so you're able to toggle by clicking on that icon that's highlighted in the screen. And so we'll display that in just a few minutes too. For those that are unfamiliar, how did producing natives work previously? So currently, what it used to do is it created a copy of the native file, then it edits the copy, and then at production time, the user would set up what's called a production prep project to re-extract the native text, so basically to match what the redacted version looked like. And it would essentially flip the original and the redacted version. And then let's jump over to our next thing. How do Façade redactions impact the production workflow? So when a native redaction is drawn, the native file will remain unchanged and the redaction will be stored solely in the database. The viewer will display a Façade redaction over the native content in the same way the viewer displays Façade redactions over image content, and you don't have the unlock capability. So when running a production, essentially, we're going to have a few different options. And so you're going to see down at the bottom in the red, when you have native redactions, so what you're going to do now instead of the production preparation is click the toggle to burn native redactions, select your markup step, and then put the native redaction text field. So that could be like a production OCR or redacted native OCR, whatever field you would like to call that, just needs to be a long text field. So now you'll see that the production viewer will display a version of the redacted copy. So just like when you have an image, and then you would have the redactions on the image and then produce the image, it would display the copy before and after it was produced. So you'll see that same way in the drop down in the production volume that you have. So what types of files are supported? So currently it's PDF, Excel, and CSV files. The learning curve with Façade redactions, so it's very similar. A lot of it's very similar to Redact as the overall application, since it's the same way to redact. Actually just going to cut down time for the reviewer and the administrator. So anything that was previously done is going to be in a lock state, and so it'll stay that way. And so now you'll see when you're on the create a new project screen for the Redact application, you're going to see that the production prep, which is to the right of the spreadsheet propagation and below the PDF, is no longer there. So you won't see that anymore. And so now we're going to just quickly jump in and showcase some of the items. So going to pop in and show relativity real fast. And so we're on a document and you can see it's got some of the redacted content. And to toggle the information that you have available, So you're going to see that it has the transparent, so you can see the underlining text. So it says orders or the number or whatever content is underneath there. If I click it again, you'll see that we have a clean version of the copy. And so if I click it a second time or third time, you'll see that the full redactions are in place again. And so if this document was produced natively, you would see it displayed here. So we can go ahead and click that, and you would see the redacted version that you have available there. And so as a secondary piece, when we set up the production set, we can go ahead and we can click on and produce the redacted versions. So if we're selecting the natives that we want to produce, we have our safe search with the redaction information. So we'll have that available there. We'll be able to toggle on this burn native redactions, select your markup set. So have one or two or more. You want to select the redaction set that you want to apply to that document. And then the bottom here, this is where it's going to re-extract the text out. So you want to make sure that you set this, assuming you're producing text in your production set. So just as a quick note there. And so once you go ahead and you save that, you'll be able to go ahead and produce the information. So. And so you go ahead and you would produce all the information out as you normally would. And then as a follow-up, when you run the import export application to export your production set, I always just say and recommend do a quick QC. Make sure the Excels that you produce with redactions are redacted. Make sure the redacted text is also available there. So just want to note that and make sure that that's QC'd as you should with any production that you have. And then lastly, that's actually it for today. So I want to thank everybody for their time. Appreciate everybody joining, and just want to let everybody know that in April we're going to be having a discussion regarding Mode 1. So we'll be showcasing remote collection capability for iPhones or for Androids to pull items off of phones and be able to export to RSMF format or various other formats, common formats in the industry. So we'll be discussing those. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. For any that we don't get to today, we'll certainly follow up at a later date. So let's see, first question that we do have. Yeah, the drop down will be available. So just how you would normally see a production. So if we showcase this real fast, don't have a sample of it, but you would see the drop down and it would showcase the redacted version of that particular file. Second question is asking about Bates numbers on the Excel files. So you can still produce it as a slip sheet with the Bates number associated to it and an endorsement, but and we can change the name of the files, of course, in the production set to match, but there is no way to currently kind of brand that inside the file. Well, great. All right, everybody, thank you for your time and appreciate it, and we'll see you in April. Talk to y'all soon.